Good morning guys, and welcome back to another episode of Garage Biljon. In today's episode we are going to be taking this Safari through its paces and making sure she's ready for the roadworthiness check. As you saw in the previous episode, I fixed the distributor that was giving me a hot start problem. Everything I think is now fine for roadworthiness. I might still not make it, but there's nothing that I can personally find on the car that's not right. What I am ever going to do today is I'm just going to make sure that the cold start system is working well. Mostly it's going to revolve around this little valve here. It's called the auxiliary air valve. I haven't checked this valve. I have no idea if it functions. My guess it's probably gunked up from years worth of carbon and oil vapors. So I'll take that off, I'll clean that. What I also need to do is adjust the fuel mixture on the fuel distributor. And I'll also be playing a little bit with the air adjustment on the throttle body itself. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to give it just enough air through here and just enough fuel through here and just enough air when cold through here for the car to idle at roughly 1000 RPM. That's the plan for today. Let's get that going. We need to change these wheels out. Not a single one of these tires are the same. So today is a big day. The wheels for the 924 Safari is going off to get refurbished. The first step is to get these tires removed and then get the existing paint stripped down and the corrosion looked after, and then I need to do a color. I'm leaning towards white, but I kind of like the silver too. Look what has arrived. My new wheels in rally white with Maxxis mud tires. So we're going to take the car off the lift and we're going to install these tires. So first thing is I'm going to take out this auxiliary air valve, clean it, make sure it's functioning, and then we'll put it back in. So this is the auxiliary air valve. It's a fairly simple mechanism. It's got 12-volt feed coming into the back of it. This feed is triggered by the temperature time switch. It'll only feed this little valve with power when it is cold. Now you can already see in this hole down there, there's a small hole that's open in there. So the whole idea is when the car is cold, it should be open, and when it's warm, it should be closed. Alright, the valve is cleaned. I cleaned it with a mixture of brake cleaner. Okay, the valve is back in the car. I've given it some PTFE again. So we know that's okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a vacuum leak test, which is going to be done with a smoke machine. So I'm just going to get that set up and then I'll show you how we do it. This is my smoke leak detector. I use this to diagnose vacuum leaks on the 924s, as they are notoriously sensitive to vacuum leaks. So anything that runs gauge-jet is going to be a very sensitive system when it comes to vacuum. So what I've done on this 924 is just behind the intake boot here, there's a ventilator feed from the sump that goes back into the inlet track and then burns the oil vapor basically. So there's this little nozzle here, which I think is the perfect place for me to inject the smoke into. So I'll show you how this tool works. We need to hook it up to the battery. It's a matter of 12 volt and the little compressor will start to run. So this is the little compressor. Now I've got a lot of accessories, so I can make this fit almost any pipe diameter that you can find on a car, but I think that little crankcase vent tube will work perfectly. So we just switch on the smoke thing and we wait for it to start making smoke. There you go. I think you can see the smoke coming out. So this can then be plugged into the vent tube. I'll get it plugged in and you'll join me when it's plugged in. Alright, so you can see I've plugged it into that tube there. And now I'm going to turn on the smoke maker and we wait. And we wait and see if we can find any smoke coming out of anywhere on this engine. Mostly the culprit is the throttle body. That tends to leak, and these little boots tend to leak. But oh, there's something coming. Where is this coming from? All right, let's find this. And there's some smoke coming from somewhere. Oh, and I think I know already where this is coming from. So we've now gone through the whole system. As you can see, this is the vent. So if I plug this up, we might get some more pressure and create smoke somewhere else. Alright, now it's coming through the adjustment screw hole. There should be something from factory that goes in there, which it doesn't have, so that's something I need to fix, and it's also blowing it out through the inlet. But I think we can say that this engine is not leaking any vacuum where it shouldn't be. So test done. Well done. I'm happy with this. Good news. The new wheels are fitted. As you can see, it's created some extra height already. And in essence, it does clear really well. I think there's at least 20 centimeters worth of space up there. The same goes for the front tire. It has a little bit less, but that's probably about 10-15 centimeters as well. Now, I don't have the lift kit in there yet, but as it stands, the car is drivable. And I did take it for a quick spin around the block to test the wheels and where that runs into the wheel arches, which it doesn't. My lift kit has arrived this morning in the mail, so that'll give me at least 2 more fingers. So you'll see the fender line probably running at that height after I've installed it. Now, the one thing I'm not sure of is how I'm going to lift the rear suspension. Now, inside there we have the torsion tubes, but I honestly do not know whether I'll be able to do this on the car or whether I have to drop the whole rear axle off the car and adjust it that way. So if you guys know how to do this, if you've done this before, please drop me a link in the comments or just the explanation, and hopefully you can help me get this car lifted by 4 centimeters, because that's what I need. And I know that if I drop the rear of the torsion bar by 1 spline, I'll get 7-ish degrees, and that should give me the height I need. So I know how much I should re-index, I just don't know how to re-index. So if you guys can help out, please let me know. The other thing I'm going to do today is I'm going to take off this rear bumper. I'm going to modify it and I'll show you guys what I'm going to do. I'm also experimenting with color, so maybe you have already seen the front of the car in another video. I don't know if you guys have seen, but I've got two colors in here. This is a Plastidip I've done on this lid, and I am quite impressed by the quality. This is just out of a rattle can, and it's quite smooth, to be honest. I can live with this quality, especially for the kind of car it's going to be. So this is Flex Blue, and I've also done the other side. This is just matte blue. This one didn't finish as nicely for some reason. Maybe the can is a little bit older. It's a little bit more grainy, as you can see. But I think that I'll be going for this color, as this seems to match the maritime blue from Porsche very nicely, and that's a color I have always loved. But let's get to that back bumper. So to remove the back bumper, it's a very simple job. You have two holes here, one on this side and one on this side, and they both take a 17mm nut, as you can see there, and it's a matter of just loosening them up and you can slide the bumper off its mounts. Alright, so I've got the bumper off the car. So you've got this bolt going in through this bracket and another bolt going in through this bracket. Pull out the bolt, that's it, and then you can just tug the bumper here at the back. If you put your fingers in there, you can just tug it a little bit and it should pop loose. I've got the bumper on the bench here, and what I'm going to do now is remove this strip. Yeah, okay, so that didn't go so well. This one's already broken off. I didn't even put any real force on this, so it snapped off. Okay, out of all the nuts, I have one. Every single one of these studs snapped off. Every single one of them. All right, so I've popped the one stud out that was actually loose, and now it's just a matter of pulling this off the bumper, and the fun can begin. There we go. One pretty molding with useless studs. Alright, so I guess you guys are starting to get an idea of what we're going to be doing with this bumper. Almost done with this. Get all those holes done, finish sanding it down, and then I'll be giving it a lick of color. Ha! There we go. Isn't that cool? And so she's becoming more and more Safari. I'm actually quite confident that when I do this with the spray system from Plastidip, that I'll get an even better result. But yeah, I'm happy. Cool. We're on our way. This is the furthest we've gotten with this car so far. Doing well. Porsche Center Gelderland. They are getting the honors of doing the roadworthiness on my 924 Safari. We're back home. She failed roadworthiness on 3 things. The rear wheel bearings are not great anymore. They're making some noise. I'll just replace both sides. The gearbox mounts are worn, which is normally not really an issue, but in this case they are completely delaminated, which means the gearbox can move from side to side by about 10 centimeters, which is not great. And the last thing was that the battery clamp seems to be rotten. We did fix that in I think the first episode. It's rotten, it's moving around, so I need to fix that. These 3 things, if I can fix that, she'll be roadworthy. I've got some work to do. The good news is she's now at home. That means I can wrench on it whenever I feel like it, instead of having to plan my days to go to the shed, which is an 80-kilometer round trip for me. I'll be taking the next couple of weeks to fix these things. My lift kit has arrived, so I'll probably be doing the lift together with the wheel bearings. And then when that's done, we'll try roadworthiness again. If you like what you're seeing, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe, and I'll keep making more of these videos. Until next time, goodbye.